Hi everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Maxon, the Maine Stamper. I am here for your weekly card class from Maine. It is Monday again, and I just had a birthday on Saturday, over the weekend. I had a weekend birthday, which is fantastic, and I thought it would just tie in so nicely to the beautiful balloons bundle by Stampin' Up, because of course whenever we think of balloons we're thinking of parties and celebrations and birthdays and all that good stuff. So fresh off my birthday, I was like really excited to jump into this really amazing bundle. And earlier I asked on my Facebook page, do you have already a balloon punch, a balloon die, a balloon stamp set? Balloons are they're like flowers, but not quite as abundant, right? But they're pretty popular items. In fact, I have a whole bunch of fun facts to share with you tonight during our live. I love fun facts. I love digging through the archives of my Stampin' Up plethora of supplies that are just, they surround me. I'm really hard. I have a hard time letting go of things. I'm always keeping things. Hi, Jackie. So good to see you here tonight. Make sure you're jumping on, saying hi. I love to know who's hanging out with me in the craft room. And tonight I'm going to just show you a quick peek at the cards. So we're going to be doing a little bit of the blues here with this fun card. Then of course we're going to go pink because yeah, you know, you have to have pink if you're doing blue. Equal, right? A little bit of this and that. And look how fancy this one is. I don't know how well it's going to show up. Maybe I'll turn it a little bit in the light. This one is like my black and gold. This is like a really classy card. So the celebration cards don't always have to be really bright and colorful. They can be muted. They can be elegant. There is so much fun to be had tonight. So let me pop you over to my workspace because we have a lot to talk about. And I'm just going to check one more time. Hi, Kathy. Nice to see you. Hi, Sandra. Love that you're here. Hi, Roxana. Okay, good. I'm seeing a few people jumping on. Thanks, Kathy. You're so sweet. All right, let's get over to my workspace. As I said, I have so much happening tonight. I'm so excited. I'm always excited, but let's pop over. Okay, here we are. Transitioned. Okay, so the balloons, bright and beautiful, right? So this is on page 14 and 15 in the annual catalog, and I can now open it and show you all the things, right? So we have photopolymer stamp set. We have some balloon images. We have the twisted crepe paper type look, right? We're going back to the 70s and 80s for that. I know I had that at my wedding reception. We got happy birthday, you did it, yay you, so thrilled for you. I think it's time for celebration. Let's get our celebration on. And I was looking at this round, let's get our celebration on. Now these are photopolymer stamps. So I was wondering if this round stamp would fit in the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. So this is a 2 3/8 inch circle punch. And if you manipulate this just a little bit, because you can with photopolymer, you can actually get this in here. You can also, I don't know if you know this, photopolymer can be like stretched out a little bit. It can be tucked in a little bit. So photopolymer is kind of fun like that. And if you want to get it exact shape, you just have to let it relax on a flat surface. It'll go into its natural shape. You can pop it back onto your stamp, your block, and then you'll be able to use it as intended for shape, right? But there's all kinds of fun things in here. Now the dies, oh my gosh, these dies are so awesome. Now let's talk for a second about the old-fashioned balloon punch. I don't know if anybody has this. This is Stampin' Up, right? We had 2 size balloons. You could punch them out, super fun, long retired. That's like old school. Talk about old school. I don't know if you guys remember when Stampin' Up used to have the green toppers. Now they have the black. They're a little bit classier now, right? So they have the black neutral, but they used to have things in green here. So this was one of their die sets. Look at this, 4 dies. A big round circle balloon, 4 dies. This was a balloon. This was one of their very first. It's called Balloon Framelets. Very old. 4 of them. Can you imagine? Now look at what we're getting when we get our die sets. Now this die set right here is also old. Getting pop-up thinlets dies. Again, it has some balloons in it. It has a whole thing where you can do a pop-up. Again, this is an older one. So we're getting closer to like our, wow, we have a lot of dies that we get now when we get a bundle. I mean, just they've come so far, right? And you may have other balloon dies at home, punches, what have you. What sets this one apart, because it is really cool, I think really is this die right here. This long rectangular die, which we're going to get into. It makes our cool fringe. If you're in the catalog, you can see the cool fringe here. And I did this on our card. So our first card has this cool fringe I mean, it takes the place of, gosh, do I have them here? I do. It takes the place of, I don't know if anybody remembers these scissors that you would use to kind of fringe things, right? They're in my little toolkit right here. But anyway, now you have a die that does the same thing. It cuts this little fringe for you, or not. There's other things you can do with it too. So we have balloon outlines. So you have, and these are not to size on the cover. These are actually bigger. Do I have them all mounted? I might have them up. I have probably some of them mounted. I don't know if you can see the light outline here. This stamp is this stamp, so they're bigger. So there's 3 dies. There's going to cut out your stamped images. Okay, so you got 3 sizes of balloons, the big one, the medium, and the small. You have this one, which cuts out like a trio, and it leaves a really awesome back image, which is what I did with this celebration card right here. As I glint it in the light, you can kind of see where it's cut out. This one is really cool. You have these solid balloons, so you can just die cut balloon shapes. And these are just going to be like grabbing out your designer paper, grabbing out your cardstock, right? You don't have to punch or stamp. You can just go ahead and die cut out some shapes with those 2. Of course, there's stars, so there's 2 stars. We're using those on our first card. They don't have to always be about the balloons, right? So if you're looking for stars and you don't have any in your craft area, this has a couple of different sizes. They're going to come in really handy for Christmas cards. And again, congratulations cards, great for stars. These 2 little tags right here, these 2 little dies, one of them cuts out if you were to stamp. So this is the outline one for this little tassel. And then as we're going to use it on one of our cards, you can also cut out this. So you can cut the cardstock and just get this image, or you can stamp and cut out. So you can get the little tassels for the balloons, which is really cool, right? And this one right here is just going to do a whole bunch of little bits of confetti. So if you need shaker card things, or you want to throw them in your card to surprise somebody when they open it, that's not always a good surprise, but it does happen. This is a tag die, and I will be using this on our Thursday at 3 card with a little bit of a technique. So that's a really good look at the dies in the set. Now this imagery here in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, of course they're showing really fun, bold, bright patterns, and I did use these on one of my cards. Or maybe 2. I used it on 2 of my cards. So there's a lot of good patterns in here, a lot of rainbowy patterns, just a lot of fun colors. So that's where this pattern pack comes from. And then I'm also using the subtles and brights of the Stampin' Up! Family because I love these colors. And lastly, before we get into it, I just wanted to show you all the materials first because I want to put them aside and not worry about them. This is the gold celebration specialty paper. This is really cool. This is not quite what I thought it was going to be. This is actually like window sheet material. So if you ever have worked with the window sheets, it's that thick. It's really awesome. And of course you're getting 3 sheets and you're getting 12 by 12s. Separate them here. So you're getting this one that has the fun swirlies, and they're gold, except if you flip it over, then they almost look silver. Now this could be white, this could be silver. I'm thinking it's more silvery than white, but how cool is that? I had no idea. They advertise this as gold. Here's the gold dots. On the opposite side, there's like that white silver. And then the last pattern right here has kind of some confetti. It's one of those that you would split down the middle and use both sides because the middle has less going on. But again, on the opposite side, we've got the white or the silver. So you get 3 sheets of that. And this is really cool. We're going to be using this on our very classy card tonight. All right, so before we get started, let me move all these things out of the way because I have all kinds of stuff everywhere. Now these are the embellishments that I'm using in my card. These are the 2023 to 2025 in color dots. I think I used these last week as well. So we've got our in colors here. We have our in colors here. We don't have our in colors here. These are some different colors. I'm pulling out the Blueberry Bushel and the Azure Afternoon for the blues. This is Berry Burst and Bubble Bath. And then this is black. This does happen to be an in color. This gold color that goes with my black is actually Wild Wheat. It's that funny color that nobody quite likes, but amazingly enough, it has a gold tone to it. So it really can pass as a chameleon color. Anyway, so these dots don't exactly match everything here, but they work and they actually do match. It's so funny how that happens. So here's the card kits. These are what I'm going to be using tonight. And in order to get your card kits for free, if you would like to place an order in my online store this week through Friday, May 12th, you're just going to use host code XQ6KHT4A. $35 order is going to get you the 6 card kits. A $50 order is going to get you the card kits and these embellishments for free. These embellishments are an $8 value, and that's before shipping tax. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you're really loving the cards tonight. You want to get your own kits. You want to make these at home. And before I jump in, one more thing. Check it out. This actually was a card from one of my very first kit class this year in January. I did this card, and I was so happy to receive this card in the mail as a birthday card this week from Deb. Now, Deb had ordered with me and she had gotten this class kit. And this just blows my mind. When you guys get these kits at home and you take parts and pieces, but you do something completely different. Debbie took the same layout here, the same papers and everything. All she removed was these hearts and the stem, and she put in balloons, and she put in happy birthday. And how fantastic is this card? I love that you guys take these kits and make them your own, just using the bare bones of whatever I'm sending you. But I just love this so much. So Debbie, if you're watching this, I was just so thrilled to see my card kit, but different from the original, and that was just the most fun for me. So oh, and then Debbie also she embossed her balloons, which is a really great idea. So keep that in mind if you're doing your dies for your regular balloons, emboss them and have some fun patterns on them. So I wanted to share that with you. I mean, balloon cards are fantastic, right? They're just so easy to work with. All right, let me get my kits together here, and we are going to put together our first card. Now, as mentioned, I'm using Blueberry Bushel and the Azure Afternoon. Now, this is a brand new color. So Stampin' Up did their color refresh. They brought back colors and they added new colors. So let's talk about Blueberry Bushel for a hot second, because some of you guys were really sad that Pacific Point went away. Now, Blueberry Bushel is really close to Pacific Point. Like, I mean, let's see. Hold, please. I still have Pacific Point in my cabinet over here. Let us review as I slide a piece of paper. Okay, here's Pacific and here's Blueberry. Now, actually, Blueberry looks a lot darker now that I get it out and I'm talking about Blueberry, right? Looks a lot darker, not quite Night of Navy. It's a really nice blue. I mean, it's a really great blue. Blueberry Bushel, fun fact, was an in color in 2018 to 2020. So this retired in 2020. Blueberry Bushel's friends used to be Lovely Lipstick, Pineapple Punch, Grapefruit Grove, and Call Me Clover. So this was a set of 5 in colors back in 2018 to 2020. And how primary are these, right? When you see them all together, you're like, wow, primary colors. Blueberry Bushel is our comeback color. So I thought that was really awesome. So that's a little fun fact on Blueberry Bushel, in case you have no idea where Blueberry Bushel came from. It was actually an in color. So in your card kits, I send you envelopes, card bases, and all the parts for 2 complete cards. So you're going to get anything that needs to be, you're going to get things that are already embossed. You're going to get some things that are die cut. So these are the stitched stylish shapes. Let's see, I'm going to put that aside because I do have a card base here to work with. Now, I'm not die cutting for you anything that goes with this bundle, which means you're going to get these fun papers, which you could certainly use if you don't have the bundle, and you're going to get some paper over here to make some stars or do whatever you want to with. I mean, clearly you have seen the proof tonight. You can do all kinds of fun things. So let's talk about that fun die one more time. So this really cool die right here, I had to play with it first with some old retired paper. This is the Mango Melody. And I just wanted to see what it would do if I didn't line it all the way to the bottom. So I don't know if you can see or not. There's just maybe 1/8 of an inch here. So really what I've done is just created some really interesting, like a grill, type of grill, kind of a, you know, it's dented, it's cut through, but it's not all the way. It's just really interesting. So if you use this on a piece of paper but don't put it to the edge, this is what you're going to get. And this is 6 inches exactly, just in case anybody's wondering. So that's what you're going to get. Now, if you use it to the edge, you're going to get the fringe look here, right? So this it's going to cut through and it's going to cut all these little pieces and give you this fringe. Now, fun facts, depending on the orientation of your paper, you can turn this around so that you're fringing the bottom of, so for example, these are two 6-inch papers, just like I am sending you in your kit, right? So you're getting two 6-inch papers just like this. So on this one I cut the, so on this one right here, I cut the bottom so that it would be the yellow on this side. And on this one I turned it around and cut the bottom so that the pink is right here and the yellow is right here. And that way we can overlap them a little bit without having the same color on the same color. So rather than having them layer exact on exact, right, we want to layer them so that they're kind of mixed and matched. And I really think this would be a fun die to use with that the taco stamp set. I just, for some reason, I thought that would be kind of cool too. So I have in my, I've already, you know, die cut these so that I could show you on the card how that's going to go together. And I have already die cut the star. I have a big one, and out of this blue paper you're going to get two of the smaller stars. So I have those for us ready to go. So really we're just pretty much on to the assembly here. Now I did do some sponging because I do love to do some good sponging. I'm going to add a lot to the cards. So this is the Azure Afternoon, and I'm going to just simply bring in a blending brush. And I'm just going to do the outside edges here a little bit. Now this is a really wet ink pad, so it's really dark. It's amazing. I mean, like really dark. Actually, I accidentally dipped my pinky finger into the ink pad and my fingertip was blue for a long time. So some of the inks stain, I think, more than others. But we're just going to deepen that down, and that's going to go right here on our card base. Now while we have our stars out, and we have the Azure Afternoon, let me show you with a sponge dauber. We're just going to take a sponge dauber on these, and we're just going to go around the edges real quickly. And this just makes the insides of these so much brighter. I'm going to show you the difference between the sponged and the unsponged, right? It just draws your eye in. It makes it look so light in the center. It gives it so much life. I love putting ink on things like that and bringing that flat cardstock to life. So that's all we have to do to doctor those up. They're beautiful and ready to go. Now let's do our Yay You. And this is fun because we're actually able to get the Yay You right onto one of our stars. I just have to find my stamp set, my ink. We're going to use our little powder buddy here. Oh, I just bent my star. Not Yay You. Holy cow. Be careful now. The star is a little pointy. All right, we're going to do Yay You. I need white embossing powder, please. Let me bring in my white. I love to do the white powder on darker cardstock because obviously it's going to show up better. So we're going to do Yay You on here, right in the middle. And it's fun that these sentiments fit onto something just as tiny as just a little star here. So here's our Yay You. And I am going to heat emboss that really quickly. Let me start up my gun here so it can get run for a second. And somewhere I have a clothespin. Okay, Yay You. This won't take long at all, really. I can see it moving. And it looks like it's good. All right. So here's our Yay You. Now, once again, we're going to bring in, let's see, this one is Blueberry Bushel. My little tags. I put little tags on my daubers because I use them, I try to use them for the exact same color every time. And my little tags, these are really old office tags. They're not very sticky anymore, so I'm going to work on that. So this is what it looks like before we add any ink, right? So it's kind of that flat look again. And we're going to just come through. We're going to add some of this ink, same color ink, right on top of each of the edge of the 5-pointed star here, right? And it just brings the middle to life. It just adds that light in the middle, and it looks so much better that way. All right, we are on to some final assembly now. So let's bring in all of our things. And we're going to talk about how we're going to turn these 2 rows of 6-inch designer series paper into 3 rows of 4-inch designer series paper. So I have 3 rows here. So basically, we know the math, right? If we have 12 inches and we want to get 12 inches, we can do this with 4-inch increments. So you can either line it up like this onto your so this is a 4-inch width, right? So you can line it up and just decide where to trim it, or you can use your paper trimmer. It's not an exact science. I'm just going to come right here between these guys and snip that one. And now I'm going to do the same thing here, keeping in mind that I want to overlap yellow to pink, so I'm not overlapping same colors, and just finding kind of the right spot here. I did this originally on my trimmer, and because you really only need to trim a little bit of this and so much of it's loose, it kind of snagged a little bit. I wasn't really as happy. So we're just going to layer these on here now, and now we can mix and match them, right? So we've got the rows here, and it's okay to overlap a little bit. The 3 rows, isn't that the coolest? I love this die. This is a really fun die. In fact, this was the first die that I reached for when I was going to play with these brand new dies. So we're just going to put some adhesive at the top where that little bit of the unfringed area is, and just kind of decide where we want to start here on our layered piece here. Now this is the painted texture 3D embossing folder. I have it over here on the other side of my desk. I had to read it. I couldn't remember. Painted texture is what this embossing folder is. It's just kind of a generic background, but I needed something that was, you know, a little bit more fun than just a non-embossed background, right? We always like to add texture and elements to the cards. It makes it more fun. So I'm just layering these on, little fringes, right? Just that easy. So again, I'm just going to flip this over. This pattern on the back is also pretty sweet. And we're going to put this on here, and I'm not even measuring to see like the exact size of how far up each one goes. I mean, you can definitely do that if you want to, but this is pretty casual. Now when you get to the last one, you may need to overlap it just a little bit on one end or the other, because you want it to just be 4 inches across. So depending on how you cut it, right, you can change it up a little bit if you need to. And then you can kind of run your fingers through here to get them to like open up a little bit, because some of them actually they don't always like immediately, they're not quite all open. They're like almost just a little bit stuck together still. So you can definitely have a play with that, but they do come off there pretty easily. And how fun is that, right? Like so much fun. All right, I'm just going to glue these 2 pieces together. Oh, with the card kit, look at this. You can actually use the back if you prefer this over the stars. This actually, it's kind of nice sometimes when that works. It does match, it does work together. I really want the star pattern though, because we are using the stars on our card. So I'm just going to glue these 2 layers together. They're already stitched and die cut for you. We're going to put this onto our card base. And we're just going to make sure we're opening it the right way so we don't have any backwards cards. Put this on here. Then we're going to add dimensionals to this guy. And I think, do I have new dimensionals in here? I feel like I really want to use new dimensionals today. Let me see. Yes, we're going to open a new pack. All right, here we go. We're going to just pop these up a little bit here. I think 5 will do us today for that amount. So let me know, do you guys love these blue colors together? I mean, there's so many great blue colors now that you can put, you know, just put together. It's just fantastic. I love the blues. All right, so we're going to put that there just like that. We are going to put dimensionals on the back of these too. Why not, right? While we're having fun, we're going to put one on the big star right there. And he can just kind of hang out right there. And then I can't remember on the little guy, I probably use little dimensionals on the small ones. I like to bounce back and forth between the use of my dimensionals, because I feel like that way I get more mileage out of them, right? Because you really only need a small one here for the little stars. And then it saves my big ones for those big projects where I need like 8 or 10 of them. And we're just going to kind of pop these on here wherever you want to. And how cool is this? I just think this is the funnest card. I love this little fringe. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do is add in our bling. Now this bling is hard to come off this sheet, I have found. A little bit difficult. Like if I'm down here with it flat and I'm trying to scrape up these little things, they're hard to come off. And then my putty end, I mean, they're hard to scrape off that way. So I found that just by picking this up and having it in the air and kind of helping to hold from the back, they come off so nicely. They come off really easily that way. So just feel free to pick these up if you have these embellishments rather than struggle, because struggling is not fun, right? And I'm just putting 2 of them on here. Now this blue is the in color boho blue, but here on our blueberry bushel and azure afternoon blue card, right? It's perfect. They're so beautiful. And there we go. Card number 1 is in the books. So let me clear down here so that we can start card number 2. I'm also going to just check messages really quickly. Make sure we're doing okay. Hi, Jess. Hi, Deb. I loved your card so much. Hi, Linda. Oh, yeah. The fringe is so cool. Does this take you back to, like, I don't know, the 60s, the go-go card, you know, the go-go girl skirts and stuff, like, right? It's just a lot of fun. I love it. It's a party. It's a party on a card for sure, right? So let's bring in pink party. Now we're going to do a pink party. Change up our party scene here and go pink. So this is the Berry Burst. Again, card kits, 2 envelopes, 2 card bases, all of these things that you would need to put your card together. So I'm just going to grab out 1 of each item. So we've got some really cute designer paper. This is, again, Berry Burst, and it's also bubble bath. Love it. You just get the twine out. Make sure I have everything that we need. 1 of everything. Now when you get your card kits, I also send you a separate email with the PDF tutorial where you can print it. It has a picture of the finished card. You can use this card recipe forever and ever. It's so awesome that way. All right, so here's all the parts and pieces for this card, minus, here's the base. Berry Burst. Let's talk about Berry Burst for a second. Berry Burst, I have somewhere. Let me grab out my next piles of ink. So Berry Burst and Bubble Bath. We're going pink this time. Let's talk about Berry Burst. So Berry Burst, in case you're looking for fun facts, was an in color in 2017 to 2019. So Berry Burst retired in 2019. And you can see that there's a difference in the ink pad here too. They changed their ink pads quite drastically. So the old school style had you pushing this way, flipping this way. Oh, and my Berry Burst has kind of like a funky fungus, almost like a fungus. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the red ink pads, when they get old, are notorious for getting this like weird, like, I don't know what it is. It's kind of bumpy on the top surface. This is an old ink pad, obviously, right? Berry Burst. So 2017, 2019, Berry Burst was friends with these colors. Powder Pink, which is a really light pink. Totally different from Bubble Bath. Bubble Bath looks so purple next to Powder Pink, right? Powder Pink looks more peachy, actually. We had Fresh Fig, which was kind of like a purpley, a brownish purple. It was more purple than brown, but it was great. Tranquil Tide, and I love the blue greens. This was a friend. And then Lemon Lime Twist. Now, Lemon Lime Twist also came back. So from this set of 5 in colors, Berry Burst and Lemon Lime are back today. So that is a little look back at where did Berry Burst come from? How long has it been missing? If you had Berry Burst, your last chance to play with it to purchase products was in 2019. So fun facts. Love the fun facts. All right, so we have all kinds of stuff here. Let us start with a little bit of stamping. So we're going to stamp on this Bubble Bath piece of cardstock. And let me bring my paper back in because we're stamping kind of off as well, off of the area. And we're going to use this really long, this is really kind of a fun, this crepe paper stamp image. So let me just open up my Bubble Bath here. This is one of those where you have to like go a long way up and down the ink pad to get this to do anything, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and just start creating those swooping motions. So you can see that I'm coming off of my cardstock. So you definitely need something behind your surface when you're using such a long stamp, right? Especially if you're going off and you're creating those little sweeping crepe paper. Let's see, we're going to kind of go this way. So basically what we're doing here is we're just kind of crisscrossing them So I've got a little crisscross here, I've got a crisscross here. So, I mean, you could do the entire card if you were just having fun with this and you're like, man, I just need to add more crepe paper. You could you could just go up and down your entire card length and just, you know, have a lot of fun. So that is the beautiful little crepe paper look. While I've got this out, we're going to stamp the balloon. So this paper that I'm sending you, I want you to stamp 2 balloons on it, the big balloon and the small balloon, or the medium balloon. So this one we're going to do in this great bubble bath color. So we'll do this down here toward the bottom, so we save room for our next image that we want to stamp. Let me close up bubble bath. We're done with that. We're going to bring in the big balloon, and we're going to bring in some confetti, and we're going to bring in berry burst next. Okay, so the big balloon and the berry burst. And with the photopolymer, you can see if you've got a good coverage of ink, if you need to keep going into it or not. And you can also see when you stamp it down, you can press it and you can see kind of, there's almost like bubbles in, you know, and on the stamp, so you can kind of see where you're stamping down. The fun thing about this stamp is the white parts here. You see the white stars and the confetti, those are cutouts in the stamp. So anytime you color, you know, use whatever color ink, you're going to get that little bit of a background there, which is so awesome, right? It's just built right in. You don't have to like add anything extra. So I'm just coming in with my little confetti and some berry burst color, right? And I'm just adding some extra fun here to this middle section. Oh, and let's, while we have the ink out, let's stamp happy birthday. Because, you know, happy birthday, right? This is a perfect card for a happy birthday. So we're just going to stamp this on here, happy birthday. And that's a really great font. I love that. When I have need of happy birthday sentiments, it doesn't matter who the card is for. I am always digging through all of my stamps that say happy birthday so I can find the font that I like. And it's not always easy to find a font that you like. Now on my card here, my finished card, I ended up just chopping it at an angle this way and chopping it kind of at an angle this way, because I didn't want it to be so long and so big, because it is kind of a big, a wider image, but I wanted it to fit on here. Now, of course, this is a little bit smaller because every time you do this, it's going to be a little bit different. I actually have to die cut these with you because I realized I did not yet get these out for you. So I'm going to do a little die cutting. Normally on Monday, I've been stopping the whole die cutting situation because, you know, it takes time, and we got 3 cards to look at, and you guys are professionals. You know what you're doing. But we're going to die cut the balloons because we have to. I don't have a choice. I need balloons. So first I have to find, where did I put my dies? I set them all aside. So we got the big balloon, and again, we got the medium balloon. That's great. Now I'm going to actually line them up properly. So we're just going to make sure they're on here. Now these die cuts are going to leave a white outline. Okay, so they're not going to cut right to the stamped image. And if you don't like that look, you can always add either some marker or some Stampin' Blends. You can color. You can color is my story here. All right, so that is that easy. Die cutting, look at that. And again, we've got the white outlines there, and we are good with that. I am not changing that at all. All right, let me just move some things out of the way again. Bring in our card, bring in all of our parts and pieces. We're going to do some assembly now, so you can see how this all goes together. So again, I'm making sure it opens in the right direction. And I'll bring in my glue and put down my bubble bath. I want to call this powder pink. I just had out powder pink. Now powder pink is in my brain, and I'm going to call bubble bath powder pink, and that's incorrect. Okay, so we've got our little crepe paper at the top. This is just the cutest. I love this paper so much. This pattern. Oh, and again, look at this. Again, if you wanted to, you could use this. It's got kind of that variegated white to the little bit darker of a pink. I mean, they're very light pinks here, but it is a variegated pattern on there. But I love the polka dots. They are so sweet. There's almost a fresh freesia purpley look to some of these, which I found fantastic. Now, before I glue this layer down, I'm going to put these down here on the bottom of my card. And again, you've got some patterns to choose from. You have, because these are the 4 different patterns for the designer paper. And you also could decide on my card here, I have the lighter one at the bottom. Maybe you want the darker one at the bottom, right? So you can decide if you're putting this together at home how you like them to go. That's the fun, again, of these kits. I send you parts and pieces, you play. It's that easy. And of course, if you don't have balloons or you have your own balloons already, use what you got. Again, I'm going to keep the polka dots up because I love them. A little bit of adhesive. There's no exact science here. That's the nice part, right? We're just gluing stuff down. I'm going to put this assembly on next. And these are all flat because I am going to be popping the balloons up with some dimensionals. So sometimes I don't want to add too much dimension to everything. Some things do need to stay flat, right? Okay, so we're going to bring, speaking of dimensionals, coming back in here with the dimensionals and the balloons. So this big guy here, he probably wants like probably three. He's a pretty good size balloon. And of course you can, I'm using 2 different size balloons. You could use 2 big balloons, you could use 2 medium balloons, however many balloons you want. Now this is something that I did on this card, and I'm going to repeat the process tonight. Normally when I'm showing you dimensionals, I'll put a dimensional here and I'll put this one down flat. I wanted this balloon to also have dimension on top of dimension, if that makes sense. So I'm going to put 2 just right on it, and I'm going to put this right over top of my balloon. Now this is going to in fact lift this middle balloon up even higher than the first balloon. So it's giving you more depth, and it actually looks more rounded rather than keeping them all flat in one surface together. So normally I don't like to add dimensions on top of a dimensioned piece because I just think it looks a little wonky, but here it works. So this is a good example. Now I'm bringing in this nice little tassel. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue here at the top. We're going to kind of tuck that under there and have that kind of come down this way. And we're going to make a bow with our little twine because I feel like string on balloons just looks really nice. And I'm going to make the bow part a little bit smaller, and I want to leave the tails long, and I'm doing this on purpose. So keep your tails long for right now. We're going to bring in a glue dot. Find where they go here. And I'm just going to put a glue dot kind of right here toward the bottom of my 2 balloons. Doesn't really matter exactly where, but this little knot of the twine is going to go there. Now again, this is still really long. I want these tails to come down because I want the tails to be underneath my happy birthday. So I want them to come down and underneath happy birthday. Happy birthday is going to get some dimensional. Again, we're just going with the dimensionals here today. And I think 2 is going to be good. And we're just going to make sure, well, we're going to make sure we put this on the right side up. That would be fantastic. We're going to make sure that we get the strings to come down through here and come across. I'm just kind of dry fading it here just for a second. Make sure everything's going to work out for me. And we're going to come this way. Back over here, strings, please. And just kind of line that up so we can see everything. The little strings are going to come down. Now is the time to trim them if they need a little trimming. So if they're really long, right, we don't want them maybe quite that long, we'll just trim off a little bit here. And maybe right there, just a smidge. There we go. But I wanted the strings to come all the way down through. I just thought that was really cute. Just kind of a nice little play. And I did not use this part of my the card kit because this is what you would be die cutting the little tail with. But that is in your card kit. So when I saw that piece left over, I was like, oh, wait a minute. What am I doing with that? All right, bling, please. Now this right here, this is the In Color Moody Mauve. We used Berry Burst and we used Bubble Bath. So we did not use Moody Mauve. However, when I popped these on here, I was like, wow, they look beautiful together. This all works out so well. It almost looks like they're Berry Burst when they're on this fun paper. So I'm just gonna throw a few of these on here. Nice little triangle formation, just like that. And then, okay, hopefully you guys have been able to see me. I think my camera is up higher than I thought it might be. And hopefully you've been able to, like, I haven't been following along this whole time. So hopefully we're good. Just checking to see here. Messages, this was card number 2. Thanks, Rhonda. Popping balloons up. Yes. Sandra, I love you so much. I'm so glad that you get my humor. We're going to pop up them balloons. Okay, good. So that is card number 2. I love this beautiful look. Now we're going to go on to something. All right, so we did fun, right? We did fun, we did carefree, we did bright. We're going to go on to something completely now for something completely different. In case you are wondering, right? It's time for a celebration. But how elegant is this one? This one just to me is like, this is a graduation card, I think. This would be a really great graduation card if you didn't know, you know, if you wanted to do the black and gold. Just beautiful. And even if the school colors were different, you could still get away with black and gold. It's just a classy combination. So card kit right here. Card bases in black. It's not very often we do a black card base, right? I do have one right here, and I've got some of this. This looks gold. I want you guys to remember. Does this look gold? This is gold. It's not. It's wild wheat. I think it's so wild that this is wild wheat. So you're getting this. You're getting these little 3x3 pieces of this. Oh my gosh, I just love this paper so much. This is like one of my favorite. Wild wheat ribbon. I mean, everything here matchy, right? So you're getting a little bit of ribbon, and I'm just separating my piles here. This piece will have the punched end to it. That's for a sentiment. And I think these ones are all extras. All right, moving things aside so we can do our fancy card here. And I'm going to try to remember that my camera is down here, not up here. I apologize if I've been out of camera like all day. Sometimes I just get going and it's just, I don't know. All right, so really the trickiest part here is going to be die, and actually we're die cutting this again. Forgot that part. We are die cutting these, and we're using that big balloon trio combination. Let me grab it back out again. This one right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to center it on this white square. This is black square. My brain is racing ahead thinking, okay, I think I can pull this off again. To be honest, when I made this card, I wasn't planning on adding the wild wheat, and it was an afterthought. And I did it as an afterthought, and it worked out, but I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to teach this now that I've done it and just kind of winged it? Okay, so here we go. So our balloons are centered on this black cardstock, and we're going to just go ahead and run this through the machine. I really like this die too, actually, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. So not only does it give you the cutaway, right? So you have the cutaway. My plates are kind of dirty, so I'm catching a lot of fragment pieces of leftover. So anyway, you get the cutaway here, the cutaway of the balloons, right? But you also get the balloons. Look at this. You can use these balloons in more cards. I love that this cutaway is not really just wasteful, right? So like you could even layer on other balloons, right? So you can see this is the pink one that I had die cut earlier. So I just think that is so cool. I just adore this. This set is different from any other balloon die set that I have encountered, which is a good thing to say. All right, so when I made this card, I decided that, you know, it's cool, right? Like this is the black on black with the balloons in the middle, and it's all like really elegant, but I felt like it needed some brightening. And if I put any kind of card base behind, you see that automatically the balloons are now, they're gold, right? You don't get the black balloons, and the black balloons leave kind of more of the look that I wanted. So I had to figure out, okay, so now Julie, you have to die cut the gold piece to match up so that when you layer them together, it's all good. And what I did, as I say, I winged it. I really did. I winged it. I just put this die right here in the middle of this paper, the gold one, and I was like, okay. This time, however, probably an easier way to do this might be to add a pencil mark. So maybe just a little light pencil mark on a couple of the spots here. Now I know that it's going to make my gold paper have like little pencil marks, but hopefully that makes sense to me when I want to die cut this and center this. So let's try this. This is like an experiment. We're experimenting here. All right, we're bringing back the machine. We're going to do it. Now, like I said, last time, all I did was I just centered it and went for it. I was like, yep, that should work. And it did. But my luck would be I'd try it again and then it doesn't work. And then I would look really goofy on camera because this is live. There's like not a do-over. It's more like, oops. All right, we're gonna see how it goes though. So we added in the pencil marks this time to kind of give us an idea of where we wanted this to be die cut out. So we've got this. So yeah, you could definitely get a nice eraser and just erase those little pencil marks. But look, we have 2 sets of balloons now that we could layer to. You could offset them to get the shadow effect. You know, you could layer them however you wanted to, but those are so cool. All right, let's look and see here now if this is going to line up nicely. I think it is. I hope it is. Okay, let's see. Live on camera. It's pretty good. We're going to make it work. It's not quite as perfect as I want it to be. I think winging it was probably like the better option here. But we're going to go with it. It might just have a little bit of a gold shadow here in a couple of spots, and I'm okay with that. All right, so let's put this fun paper onto the back side of this. So I want to keep it looking like this because I want the white on the back. I want the gold on the front. Now, this is like window sheet again. Once it's like window sheet material. It's just going to fit into your die cut because I wanted to send out 3x3 papers so that I could get the most value out of my 12x12 sheets. So again, we're doing some math. So just go ahead and flip it over, make sure it's lined up properly, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add some tear and tape. You could use regular not masking tape, clear tape. You could use whatever tape you want really, but what we're doing here is we're making sure that this is going to stay right here. I'm actually going to add just a little bit on the outside side edges. Outside side edges. That didn't make sense. Okay. We're going to add a little bit right here, but just keep in mind that we don't want it to show through, so we have to be careful. So if you're adding a little bit on the edges right here, you don't want to put it over too far where you're going to see it on the opposite side. So just be really careful of your edges. So basically that's it. It's just really pretty and cool, right? And then this is going to layer on top of this, and it's almost perfect. I wish to say that it was more perfect than it is, but we're going to just go with it. We're going to go with it today, and that'll be that. So what I'm going to do then is I am going to very carefully add glue. I don't have a lot of spots left to add glue in. So we have to kind of go around the tape. We have to go around the edges here where the tape is, so we don't kind of, and you don't want to get it on the adhesive sheet. So just a little bit of glue there. We're going to kind of line this up here and hope for the best. This one is just, good as it's going to get today. I knew this was going to happen live, right? I'm like, sometimes I bite off more than I can just this is me making my cards. I'm like, oh, these cards are great. I just made a card. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to remake this card. It's going to be a little bit challenging. All right. So I can see here that this is kind of, just a little bit lifted here. So I'm going to come in with just a tiny bit of glue, like a tiny bit of glue. That's probably more than I wanted. I squish that down, it might squish over too much. But anyway, so we're going to try to put that on there just like so. I'm going to hold that down for a second. All right, so now we have our layers just like this, and it's going to go onto our card front, and we are going to put this on with dimensionals. Now I have in my arsenal of dimensionals, and I wanted to show you, Stampin' Up has black dimensionals. I don't know if you knew this or not. So you get 4 sheets. You get 2 of the small, you get 2 of the large. So you're looking at these and going, how are these black dimensionals? They are black because this is what they look like when you take off the white wrapper, right? So they're black on one side, and when you take off the white wrapper, they're black on both sides. And the great part about this is that when you're using a dark card base like I'm using right now, when you have the dimension and you put it sideways, you do not see any white in there at all. It's just, they're fantastic. Now I know there's a great workaround, and it's called a Sharpie or a marker, and you can color your dimensionals on the side. If you don't want them to be white and showing, you can color them any color really. It's a great tip on the white ones. But when you're using black, the black dimensionals are amazing. I just love them. All right, so this is going to come on here, right up here at the top. We're doing just kind of a nice little layer across there. And then let's bring in our other layers. So we have down here at the bottom, you're going to see all these great layers. So we have the wild wheat and black cardstock. I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive down through here, layer these together. And then I'm going to wrap this ribbon around the back. Now when I wrap the ribbon, your best friend is your silicone mat, because anytime you add tape or glue onto this, it's just a thing of beauty. So I'm just going to go ahead and run my tape runner along here, and then I'm going to put my sticky ribbon right along the side. Now the reason I did this is because I wanted texture in here, and this adds texture. This is actually called textured ribbon, believe it or not, right? So a little bit of glue, a little bit of tape here. I always use glue. A little bit of tape, dog hair. You can take those off if you want to. And there we go. And then we have this really nice layer, right? So this kind of like golden black layer, but it has the texture of the ribbon to like kind of just oomph it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 of these, I think right here. I'm not going to put them on the bumpy ribbon. I'm just going to leave them on the cardstock. And this is going to come down here on the bottom of my card. So again, we're just kind of creating that cutaway layer, right? So there's a little bit of a distance between the top layer here and then this layer down here. All right, and then we have left our, I think it's time for a celebration. So we are going to bring in, again, our stamp set, Versamark ink. Oh, these little wrappers from the back of the dimensionals are like everywhere. They don't even want to leave. It's staticky. It's staticky here. All right, I'm going to use my embossing buddy here to clean this up a little bit. Bring in my Versamark ink, and this time we're doing the gold embossing powder, right? Because we're keeping that whole black and gold thing going on. So here we go. All right, let's do this. It's time. I think it's time for a celebration. I think so too. We're going to kind of keep this as close as we can to the edge of where the little banner pick-a-punch is, and I did use that pick-a-punch banner on this one. Okay, so here we go. It's time for a celebration. That looks good. I would like the cover to my powder so I don't lose that. And we'll heat emboss this really quickly. And it's coming down to the end. So it's just starting to turn in a few spots, getting that shiny gold. There we go. I think that's good. Okay, so we've got that. Now this is actually longer than what we need for the card. If you put it on here, you're going to see it comes quite far over. And I didn't want it to take up too much of this great balloon imagery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of line it up where I want it to go, and then I'm going to trim the end. And I'm going to do that with my scissors. So I'm just going to kind of hold it on here, just see where I want it to be. Find my scissors, and as long as that's straight, I should be able to mostly get a straight line, right? Let's pretend I'm going to get a straight line tonight. There we go. And again, so this is kind of like the black, and it comes across here, so it's going to work out. Now I did also put dimensionals on this piece. If I can find my black dimensionals, they're right over here. We're going to put a few on here too. I think we're going to do 3. We want this to be kind of full across this little kind of window sheet. So 3 of them on the back of there. And once again, we're just going to line it up with the edge over here, kind of catch where the balloon starts on this end, just like that. That's not too bad, right? The thing that it's missing, of course, is the bling. Now this is wild wheat. And the color that we actually use is wild wheat. I'm looking for my pick tool. Okay, so here we go. So this actually is like the right color for this right color, which is amazing, right? And again, this looks kind of like that yellowy gold, right? Oh, I think I wanted to use a smaller one on that one. I'm gonna back this off, maybe, if I can. This is one of those nights. Okay, it's Monday, right? All right, this one's coming back onto my sheet. I want to use a medium one here. Okay, I don't know if you guys do that at home too or not. Sometimes I back off an embellishment after I put it down, and I'm like, no. Wait just a minute, please. We're going to change it up. All right, so there is our really fancy black tie affair, right? Fun balloon card. So I just wanted to show you that the balloon cards don't all have to be, you know, pink and blue and yellow and green and bright and fun and all that kind of stuff. So these are the 6 cards that you're going to get with your card kits. So you'll be able to recreate some of these. You'll be able to use them in however you want to, whatever method you choose. And that's our card class. How did we do on time? We did really good. Under an hour is my favorite. Okay. Oh, thanks, Jackie. The black card, I think, is very stunning, for sure. Lori says she likes the balloon happy birthday the best. Yes. Mary, thanks for the love. Love it. So yeah, that is our card class for tonight. A lot of fun, a lot of versatility. When you, thanks, Bonnie. Bonnie loves all of them. When you use something as traditional and easy to use, really, as the balloons, right? I'm trying to words tonight. Oh my gosh. Like the balloons can transition out like flowers can, right? So if you have a flower card, think about the flower element is now a balloon element, right? It's that simple. I mean, it's just, it kind of goes with flowers, balloons, candy, cake, you know, all those kinds of things. Can you tell I just had a birthday? I'm having a lot of fun with that. All right. So anyway, that's our card class. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for sharing your comments, thoughts, and ideas. Again, ask me any questions you need to on the cards. Thanks, Jess, for saying that they're fun. I always have a good time. You know, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Actually winging it with that wild wheat and the second balloon die was better than trying to use the pencil. And yeah, I kind of regret using the pencil. I should have just stuck to it. I think that with the square nesting shapes, you really can. You can eyeball the middle probably easier than you can manipulate the pencil and the die in the middle, but that's okay. Lessons learned, right? I am not a perfect card maker either, and I don't want you guys stressing about it like at home. If you're like, man, I can't make cards like me, you know, you're following tons of different people making cards, you're like, oh, they make the perfect cards, and like, you know what, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we flop. We probably have piles of cardstock hidden away somewhere where they were like epic failures. We're going to take them apart and use them for something else. So thanks, Sandra. I'm glad that you love them. That's so awesome. All right, everyone. So come back on Thursday at 3. I'm going to be using the same die set. We're going to be doing another really fun card. And you know, my Thursdays at 3 are really fun cards. So don't miss that one. You're going to want to check it out. All right, and that's it for me. Everyone have a great evening. Until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye, everybody.